Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper.
I welcome everyone to another episode of a podcast. Today, we have a special guest. We have Richard Hooker. He is the Secretary, Treasurer, and Principal Officer of Teamsters Local 623 out of Philadelphia. Pleasure to have you on here, Richard.
Hey, brother, thanks for having me. You and brother Garfield, man, I appreciate this, man. And thank you for the opportunity. Just thank you so much.
Glad to have you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's our pleasure. So want to start off, we just want to ask you what's going on in Local 623.
So, I mean, being from UPS, I think we all know what's going on at 623, just like in every other local. You know, it doesn't matter the number. The same issues that you guys are having, we are having. And we are fighting them the best way we can through the grievance procedure, through just informing our members at the gates, being involved with them, being in the buildings with them, letting them know that these issues are happening and that, you know, we all need to stick together in order to fight back. Because you guys know, you know, just like I know, UPS will do whatever they can to divide and conquer us. They hate a unified membership. They hate a engaged membership. They hate an informed membership. So we can combine those things together. It creates problems for them and more victories for us. So that's really, you know, like I said, it's the fighting, the harassment, the AC stuff is not really an issue for us because we're up north. Of course, we want it. But I know folks like in Dallas and in the southern states and out west, I know it's a big issue.
Yeah.
And so we don't really have that issue right now. Of course, everybody wants AC, right? It's hot, especially right now. But in your area and other areas, you guys need that more than anybody right now. You know, and another thing that we're coming up against, automation. And I know that's a tough subject for people to talk about, especially people in the IBT level. But, you know, I can speak from my own viewpoint because we actually have a local right across the bridge in Jersey who is shut down for automation right now. Now, those members now have to travel to another state, pay tolls to work.
Yeah.
Automation. We're not protected against it. You know, the language there doesn't protect us. So, you know, it's a mess right now. And I do want to say this. I said it on my own personal podcast. I will be running in the next IBT election. I want folks to know that. You know, it's going to be like one of those guerrilla warfare type campaigns, grassroots. Listen, we're not going to raise the money that the incumbents have. Their PR is just on another level. And not only that, right, these guys, especially the general president, is a master politician. I'm not a politician. So we're going to stick to our strength. Grassroots, in the mud, in the dirt. You guys know the issues. We all know them. Let's keep it focused about that and how we can fix it and move. And watch this, move back into the working class. Because right now, we're the laughing stock for the working class right now. That can't happen. That can't happen.
No,
well,
that's
and about that, and you know, being the laughing stock, this is something that's really been bothering me the last month or so when they started. And I'm sure anybody listening to this has seen the videos that the IBT has put out about, you know, us quote unquote demanding our AC that we supposedly negotiated for 2 fucking years ago. Like, why are we waiting 2 years later to start begging for this? Why didn't we negotiate it in the contract? It was like, hey, instead of giving the company an extra 3 or 4 months to buy all the trucks they're going to need for the next 10 years, why didn't we say, no, this contract ratified, every truck needs to have AC in it moving forward? Like, what are we doing? Like, who sees that? Like, this is one of the first things I noticed when I read this language. When I saw that they were going to put AC in this contract, they were putting AC in the trucks. It was the first section I went to read when we got the language, and the first thing that popped out to me was, oh well, they've got all the time in the world. They can buy thousands of trucks in the next few months
And they
and not
did.
have to replace. And they did.
Yes. Yeah.
They
And they
did.
not have to put any AC. I mean, I don't know anywhere in our local that has AC trucks.
No,
And we have what,
no.
10,000, 11,000 UPS members in our. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. So let's call it what it is. When they struck the deal for the ACs in the contract, the company, I mean, it was done beforehand, right? They talked about it. Okay, that's how they were able to buy the trucks, right? Because they had talked about the deal beforehand. So what it did say was, which we all know, is the company can say, hey, look, we're getting ACs. Might be in 15, 20 years, but we're getting it. The union saying, hey, we help get ACs in the trucks. And they knew it was going to be, well, we knew it was going to be
Yeah.
15, 20 years. But hey, let's just say we're going to get it in there. That's deception, man. That is a bad look. How about just being upfront? Hey, this is what we can get. This is what we got. And it's going to be 15, 20 years. Because that was a bad look. So let's say something that's not true and say we got ACs in the truck.
Because that,
Yeah.
Richard, you saw that,
You,
right? I
you're
mean,
right. I mean, you got to look at the language. You have to look at the language and what it says.
yep,
It sounds good. And I remember the PR. The Teamsters finally got AC
yep.
in the package cards. I mean, in the media, they loved it. The
They ate
company
it up.
and the union were talking about, hey, we care about our members, we care about our employees. We're tired of people falling out. We're tired of people dying. Sounds good. But when you get the language, it says only on trucks purchased after 2024.
Yep.
So if
Yeah.
I'm UPS, I'm buying all the trucks I can before 2024, which they did.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's the part that didn't get out into the media. That's the part that they didn't talk about. And again, that's why, again, when we have these contract negotiations, I think it should be open bargaining. I really do. I think that every member should have an opportunity to be at that table to witness what's going on. Because again, leaders are going to tell you what they want you to know.
Yep.
Because again, we saw what happened. Look at the 224 language of the last contract. It sounds good. Hey man,
Mm.
224s, they're going to be alleviating the package car drivers from all this overtime, spend more time with your family. Oh my God, they're going to be working 4 years in the building, 4 years on the road. And it sounds good. I'm a family man. I get to spend more time with my family.
Yep.
But not knowing they were going to screw those workers. They was going to work all these hours, not make the money. But again, language is important. I tell
Yep.
people all the time, language is more important than money. It really
Yep.
is. Because
Yeah.
language will kill you. You can
Well,
make
yeah.
all the money you want, but the language will kill you.
it's true, and you know what, and that's what I said to people. I said, listen, I said they can tout these things, but when we were talking about the contract, and I said, listen, this is the deal with the AC, right? This is the deal with this, but the language, the basic language, most of the language in the contract didn't change. I
Right.
mean, it's basically the same. I mean, you know, and like you're saying, language is everything. People have to read it. They're not just just the headlines. And that's what, kind of our side did there. It's just the headline. Oh, look, we got AC. And that's baloney. That's our side. And listen, open negotiations. I agree with that. I agree with that. But then you wouldn't be able to hide things, right? Like,
Yeah.
But
like
that's the point.
some people want
That's
it.
the
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
We just got done early this year with one of our newer craft, their first contract.
Hmm.
And things changed when we opened it up to all of our members to come down
Yep.
to the union hall, and they got to look and hear directly what the company was talking about. And everything changed when one of our members stood up and she went on one side of the CEO and came down the other. Everything changed. And after that
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
we got pretty much everything we wanted. We got $11.05 over 3 years,
Hmm.
all these protections and stuff, but it changed when he saw and heard every member had a gripe, a
Yeah.
different gripe.
Yeah.
Everything changed. Listen, I understand why people may not like that, but once we opened it up here at 623 and we saw it, I want all of our negotiations to be open.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be.
It affects everybody. Every bit of language
Yes.
affects every member under that contract, and there's no reason why every one of them shouldn't be able to have a say if they want it. And I get some people don't want to. Some people want to come to work, go home, whatever. If that's what you
Yes.
want, fine. Some of us want a say in it. If I'm going to be working under this contract for the next 5 years, I want to say in what it says. And filling out a piece of paper and sending and faxing it off somewhere and hoping that somebody might pick it up and actually read it instead of just immediately throwing it in the damn trash,
Yeah.
isn't involvement.
No, no, it's. I mean, I'll tell you, but that goes on a local level also. Like
Yeah.
when you're having a hearing and you have a, when I was a BA, I'd call members up in the middle of the hearing to get in front of the labor manager, so everything was open. And if they happen to be in the building, I'd bring them in, nothing to hide. But if you don't want to bring people in and everything wants to be a secret, well, we know what you're doing. You're making a deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's what happens on any level. And it happened with the negotiations. I don't appreciate that from our side, especially. Like I always say, we expect the stuff from the company, right? We expect that crap from the company. But from our own side, that's baloney.
Yeah.
I don't, that to me, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
And but that's that. And we're fighting it now, and we're every day we fight. But
Yeah.
the next thing we're going to go into, which is kind of, along the lines with the contract, is harassment. Okay.
Yes.
And I mean, it's at an all-time high.
Yes.
And we see it everywhere. Richard, it's at another level in your local as well, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
It's everywhere. And
yeah.
if anybody's been paying attention to what I've been saying for the last, I don't know how long, everything has been around this issue of harassment.
Hmm.
I get people want more money, and every contract, whether you believe you agree with it or not, you have gotten more money. You have gotten more raises. That
Mhm.
has never been an issue. They may not have gotten the dollar amount, but you have gotten more money.
Yep.
Supervisors working language increase. You get more money now. What I don't like, and it's going to sound crazy, is now they have put a more of a dollar sign on harassment. To me, I think that's a problem. And I know that's going to sound crazy, but hear me out. So when we say, we go to the panel and we win, and the panel says, well, you get this amount of money in harassment. What we're saying to the company is, you can harass me as long as you pay me for it. I don't agree with that. We want it to stop. Get that manager, get that supervisor out of here. If it's a member, if they do it, they get walked out.
Yeah.
The same rules should apply for the company.
Yep.
If you are a consistent person who is retaliating, harassing, creating a hostile working environment, you should be fired. And for whatever reason, we have said, as long as you give me money, it's okay. It's not okay. I remember in 2011, Hoffa had put out this memo to the company saying, hey, you guys continue to harass, we're going to do this, that, and the other. Here it is, 14 years later, we done changed leaders, and we still getting harassed out of the woodworks. What does that tell you? It will never change. It will never change. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you wanted to change, we're going to have to change leadership, because we have a lot of that harassment in our own locals and international.
Yep.
UPS feels as though, hey, listen, why should we care if you allow it in your own organization? Get rid of it. Let's get it out of our own house, and then let's take care of that UPS, because they're not going to stop unless we make them. We're going to have to punch them in the mouth. You're going to have to.
Yeah.
That's the only way you beat a bully. You got to punch them jokers in the mouth. That's the way I feel about it, because I'm tired of it, man. I am. I hate when people disrespect people. It bothers me. It bothers me.
Yeah. Well, it's
especially considering that, and and I've said this to division managers, center managers, of supervisors. It's like, you don't make money for this company. I do. The people in brown out there driving the trucks, delivering the packages, we are the only people that produce a service for this company.
No.
If all of us were to drop dead tomorrow, this company would not exist. Would fall apart in a couple of in like a day. If every division manager and every center manager were to drop dead tomorrow, the company would keep on
Still
running.
go on. Still go on.
Packages would still get delivered.
Yep.
There ain't nothing any one of them can do that the supervisor can. Or that, I mean, hell, half of that stuff is so damn automated. That's the stuff that should be getting automated.
Well, listen,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
I agree.
so we can blame the company because there's a lot to blame. And I've said it what you said, Richard, about like the supervisors working. So we just basically threw money at it, right?
Yeah.
How about, and I've said this before, why don't we, if a supervisor's working, why don't you create a full-time job or something like that, right? Like there's something there, but no, quadruple time. Let's just much easier for both of us, both sides. Let's just, the company laughs at us and we just agree to it and that's it. There's nothing else to it. So, again, like you said, we have to do our part and it's the same thing as that was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had a couple of union meetings ago. I actually stood up and I told my members, kind of like what I just said before. I said, we as Teamsters have conditioned the company to say, hey, as long as we pay you for it, we can continue to violate you.
Yep.
And they looked at me like, man, Hooker, man, you talking crazy. And I got a text after the meeting saying, you know what? I went home and I thought about what you said, and it makes a lot of sense. We as Teamsters have conditioned the company to say, hey, as long as you pay me, you can violate me. And we got to get out of that. And I get it right now. That's the only mechanism we had. But we have to start moving away from that kind of thinking. It's not okay for you to work. It's not okay for you to harass me. It's not okay. Now, pay shortages and stuff like that, I agree. There should be a penalty pay. There should be a cost. But supervisors working, create a full-time job so you can pay some more money into the pension, right? Get some more people working. Harassment, no, you get out of here. No, you need to lose your job, like my members would do.
Yep.
It has to be that way, but we don't talk like that because we have conditioned our members. As long as you're getting all this money, it's okay for them to violate you, and it's not. It's not.
It's and again, I think you said this. Whatever can happen to us, it's got to be mirrored on management, right?
It's got to be.
It has to be. I mean, how is that okay? How is it okay that someone in management gets moved to a different building? That's accepted. I mean, we can't really say to the company, you have to do this, but there are ways of persuading them to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And making their life difficult because I don't accept that. I don't ever accept that. I've never accepted that. And I know both you guys, you don't accept stuff like that either. And I think that some of our leaders have gotten complacent, right? I mean,
and if you think about it, and maybe it's not totally their fault. I mean, who knows? I think it's part of human nature.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to the Unity conference this past time in my first one, and one of the officers there said something that really stuck to me. They said, a lot of the leaders in that building, in that room, have not been in the craft for decades. So they don't know what it's like, what it feels like to be harassed, to have a paycheck short, to get hurt on the job, and then to fight for comp, all these things. They don't know what it's like to be behind that wheel and it's 1,000 degrees in the back of that package car. And so human nature kicks in and they have forgot. Not saying that they're bad people, but human nature has kicked in and you have forgotten what it's like to be in that warehouse, in that truck, in the grocery division, whatever the case may be. So a part of you are just, you're not there anymore. And so you don't know. And so when that person said that, I said, man, that's right. But that doesn't absolve you from doing the job.
No.
Right. And so that's why we spend a lot of time here with our members, man. I mean, I'll never forget when COVID was happening. And it was, man, we had, and I can imagine with a local your size, people were getting COVID left and right. I mean, it was by the hundreds and hundreds. And one of my members actually said to us, man, aren't you afraid of catching COVID? I said, man, if you guys going to catch it, we're going to catch it with you because we're going to still be in here. Because you guys are working, we're going to work. Now, we did some things at the hall to mitigate us being together. But in the buildings, if you're going to catch it, we're going to catch it. And I think leaders in this situation have forgotten what it's like to be in that truck, to be in that warehouse, to be in whatever capacity, whatever craft you come from.
Yeah.
They have forgotten. And I think that's why we're going through the situation where the leaders are making decisions based on how they're living or their paycheck and not based on the members' paycheck and how the members are living. So there's some things that got to change, man. But I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, just never forget where you came from, right?
Exactly.
I mean, and that's you hit on that perfectly. I mean, it's you're not where you are right now, where you've been. Remember that, and it's not happening. And again, they're not in that position. So at that, for a little bit, for 0.00005%, yeah, I get that. But the rest, okay, knowing that, you got to
Yes.
realize that and adapt and overcome and deal with the situation.
Yes.
And too many excuses, too many this, too many that, too many, like what I've noticed is, and I've spoken to, different people and different locals, and some leaders don't want to say what's really going on. They'll say the basics, the minimum, right? Richard, you speak to everything. You don't care. You speak it. I know. I
No,
mean,
you have to.
you say
You
it
have
how it
to.
is. And I
Yeah.
commend you, and we don't want ignorant members. We want smart members who are informed. And you know why people don't normally say things? Because they're worried about their job. And if they're not ignorant members, they're gonna go for my job. Well, who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. This job doesn't belong to me.
Yep.
I got it for 3 years. If somebody says, "Hey, Hook, man, we appreciate what you did for the time you were in,
Yep.
but we want to go in a different direction,"
Mhm.
they have every right to do, and I want them to do so.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm a servant leader. I work for the membership. I don't
Yeah.
work for myself. I still listen. I still live next to my members. We still worship at the same churches. We go to because I tell people all the time, I'm a rank and file member who just happens to be a principal officer.
Yeah.
And that's the way I try to lead. I'm not better than anybody. I'm still that same guy that was loading trucks in the warehouse. I'm still that same guy who got up and went to church on Sunday, still do the same thing. I'm still that same guy. Nothing has changed. The reason why I feel this way is because to the points that we're talking about here now, leaders forget the company does whatever they want to do, and they feel as though they can continue because there's not enough fight from the members.
Yep.
Power respects power. Right now, and I'm a Teamster, and I feel bad saying this, the Teamsters don't have any power. Because if we did, UPS wouldn't do this nonsense that they're doing. Because they would think, man, if we do this, God, I know these guys are going to do this. Is it worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it worth it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. The repercussions, right?
Yes.
I mean, they feel like there's no repercussions.
There you
so
go.
They can do what we want. And it goes nationally. It's happening locally, in locals. And that to me is just.
And even then, with like you said, when the repercussions are just money,
right.
UPS got all the money in the world.
There you go. You hit another one.
Yeah.
So if I got to pay, and I found out years ago that they budget the grievance payouts. They budget that. They know, hey, listen, we're going to pay an X amount of money in grievances. We already know that. Let's set that aside. So I don't care how many grievances I have to pay for supervisors working 9-5s. The president of our district here I'm not home, but in Philly, said to me, yeah, we know that we're violating the 9-5s and it's the cost of doing business. Here's your money.
Yeah.
Here is your money. And
Yep.
I'm like, they want to go home. They want to be with their families.
Yep.
It's not about the money.
Yeah.
But when you're making billions of dollars in profit, you don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Yep.
That's
Every
why
company.
every chance we get,
Yep.
we need to punch them in the mouth. I'm talking every chance, not every 5 years. Every chance we get, we need to do to them what they do to our members. Every chance we get.
Yep.
I'm serious. That's the only way things are going to change.
Yeah. And I know that, speaking to you, Richard, knowing Garfield, myself, each of us individually has enough fight for everyone. I know that. Okay. And that's never going to stop. 29 years, I got just as much fight, if not more. Okay. and that's never going to stop. And I try to, with this podcast, we try to empower people, we try to
Yeah.
educate people. It's been happening across the country. We get emails, we answer them because we're helping people, and
Yeah.
that's making people stronger. And we're seeing that. What you do, I commend you. You're down there with the members, right?
Yeah.
You're not corporate. You're right down there with the members.
Yep.
You're taking care of business, and that's the way you've always been doing it. So
Listen,
yeah.
and this is respectfully to the IBT. We got to get out of the suit wearing, right?
Yep.
And get down into the mud with the overalls. We got to get down in the mud and start fighting these corporations. I'm talking about not just saying it, especially at UPS. We got to get in. I like the name of the show, Reality Check. This is a reality check for every member that's going to watch this. We need to get down in the mud and the dirt and fight with these companies, especially at UPS. That's the only way we're going to get out of this. We got to get down and dirty.
Yep. It's and I'm going to tell you a small thing we did when I was a business agent. This is a small part of it. We didn't wear suits. We wore our slacks and a polo. Because if you're walking with a suit, wait, is that a management person?
Yep.
Oh, no, it's the team. No. And there were certain times to wear a suit. I get that. We go to panel, we wear this. That's fine.
Yeah.
When you're down there going into the buildings with the members, stop trying to look better than them. Hey, let's get down and dirty, right? If we have to, And that's just a small part. But you're right. We got to get right down there with them, and and just fight every day. Not like you said, not just every other day. It's every single day. We don't
Every day, brother.
We don't give them an inch. But I wanted to, if you have one last thing to say. I know we were glad to hear that you're that you're running. Okay.
And you know what I want to say, and I know we're getting to wrap up, and I want to say thank you and to the members down in that area for reaching out and supporting this campaign. Now we're still, like I said, it's going to be a guerrilla warfare. I mean, and just to be obvious, they got a ton of money. They have a ton. The PR is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it every day. And listen, the general president is a master politician.
Yep.
He's masterful at that, right? I'm not a politician. So, that's their strength, and we're gonna operate in our strength. I'm a guy that gets down in the mud. I don't mind fighting. I fight everybody if I have to. I actually told some group of people that we were meeting at when we were talking about running, I told them straight up, if I had to do this by myself, I would, because I don't want members to think that it's okay for the IBT and the Teamsters to be separated from the rest of the working class. I don't want the members to think that it's okay for us not to be protected against automation. I don't want them to think that fear and intimidation and this autocratic system that we have right now going on in the IBT, this fear mongering that we have is okay, because it's not. And I'm never going to be okay with that. So we got to do it alone. Then I do that, because I don't want people to say, Hooker, you didn't stand up. You talk all this junk, all this smack, but you had an opportunity to do something and you didn't. No, I don't like UPS. I don't like Amazon. I don't like abusive employers. Not every employer is bad. I get that. But we're dealing with the largest contract with the Teamsters, and they are very abusive.
Yep.
Their number one thing they do to our members: harass, intimidate, retaliate. People are scared to death to stand up. I get so frustrated when I hear my members say, hey, I didn't get paid for 3 weeks. Well, why didn't you file a grievance? Well, if I do that, they're going to come after me. They're going to retaliate. Hold on. Your family did not receive money for 3 weeks, and you afraid?
Yeah.
So you're not afraid that your son or your daughter or your spouse not get nothing to eat, or the lights being cut off, or your mortgage?
It's crazy.
How? But that's the culture that UPS has created. And unfortunately, it's the same culture in the Teamsters.
Yep.
I know this is going to turn people off, but the Teamsters culture and UPS culture is the same. It's the same. You stand up, you're going to get blackballed, you're going to get ridiculed, you're going to get whatever. but you have to put your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, stand up to everybody. UPS, the IBT, whoever it is.
Yeah.
I done been booed, cussed out,
Yeah.
this, that, and the other. But guess what? We're still here. We're going to
Yeah.
continue to be here. We're going to continue to fight. And I thank you, brothers, and especially down in the area where you guys are at, the phone calls, the texts. I mean, the one you sent me the other day about your principal officer saying all this stuff. And I'm like, I only seen your principal officer twice in my whole life.
Yep.
He doesn't even know me.
Yeah.
But that's the culture that's in the Teamsters. Oh, Hooker doesn't support the general president. He's a bad guy. How am I a bad guy? We organize, we grew the local, we doubled our contracts, we fight.
Yeah.
We make the Teamsters look good. How am I
Yeah.
the enemy? But that's that culture that we have, and we got to get rid of it.
Yep.
So again, thank you guys for this opportunity. We got a lot of work to do, and I think things are going to change. Once this election is over, people are going to see, man, you know what? We got to get this guy out. We got to get the general president out. We got to get him out.
I got one thing I want to say before we end this. And
Okay.
a good friend of mine told me this a couple of years ago, and it's always stuck with me. As a person, you already know what the right thing to do is. The hard part is doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So nothing we're talking about is going to be easy moving forward.
No,
Nothing what Richard's talking about is going to be
No.
easy moving forward.
No, absolutely not.
If you disagree with this stuff, if you want to stand up to whether that be your boss or the IBT or whoever, you already know that it's right. You feel that you need to stand up. You already know that that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The hard part is making that first step and standing up. And that's what we as Teamsters should be backing people up to do. That's what being a Teamster should be all about, is knowing that when you stand up, you got brothers and sisters next to you standing up right beside you.
Absolutely. You know what? You brought something to my attention that I almost forgot. I actually got a text message from some members, and they're saying the same thing. They said, Hooker, we support you privately. We can't do it publicly. And these are the terms that he said. He said, if we do, we're going to face the wrath of O'Brien. Think about that. The wrath of the general president, somebody who we've been sending tens of thousands of dollars a month to every month in per capita tax.
Yep.
You're afraid of that. I can't live that way.
No.
I wasn't raised to live that way.
Same.
But that's the culture. The wrath of O'Brien. People are afraid, and I get it, because you remember he came in, he fired all these people, had to pay all this lawsuit money out, had to bring people back to work, and we had to pay that money, and I get that. But at a certain point, if we don't stop it, it's going to continue.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sayings: "What you allow is what will continue."
Yep.
And that's how I'll end it. Thank you guys again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And listen, if it's guerrilla warfare, then it's guerrilla warfare. So
that's what it's going to be. That's what it's
it.
going to be.
Yeah,
listen, we know our shortcomings,
Mhm.
and you know, we talk about them, and we're not going to hide from them. Listen, they have a political machine, PR machine. They're shaking down a lot of people to give them the max, so they can't give nobody else. I get that. That's politics.
Yeah.
But I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
The majority of, if we just talk about UPS, the majority of UPS Teamsters are not happy with what's going on right now. And if you look at the majority of the totality of the working class movement within the Teamsters, they are not happy with his flirtation with the president, knowing what he's doing, and he hasn't said anything. And he can't say anything. And that is a problem.
Yep.
It is.
Whenever you see 50,000 people lose their collective bargaining rights when you first come in, and as a general president of the strongest arm in the labor movement, and you say nothing, dude.
I know.
That should be disqualifying enough. But I know the fear is real.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah. I mean, but it's up to people
the rank and file have the power.
Yeah, they have, but it's up to like people like us who want to get it out there and make people stronger, so they're not afraid, so they're willing to speak publicly and say, hey, you know what, we're not happy with this. You know, we need change. We want change. That's
Yeah,
it.
I
You know, and
agree.
people follow. You don't want to. You have to lead by example, right? You do that, and you that's the way you have to do. And people be like, wait a minute, he's doing it. I could do it. Then I can do it. And I could do it. Then everyone starts doing. But you're right. People see what's going on. And the contract, whatever. We know the truth
Yeah,
about it. So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
all
We got
right.
listen.
So
We
yeah,
got historic wages, but the most important thing to protect our jobs, we have no protection against it. Zero.
Yep.
yep. That's the truth. That is absolutely the truth.
$7.50 over 5 years, but I may never live to see it because
Yep.
my job may not even be there because of automation.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely. It's just nuts. But all right. So listen. It was a pleasure. It was our pleasure having you on here, Richard. We appreciate your fight. You keep up that fight, and we know that it's a long road.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a problem. That's not a
No,
problem. That road,
no.
let's go down it. Okay.
Yep.
So for Richard Hooker, myself, and Garfield, have a good day.
Thank you.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.